Yeah, I think so. I think we're really finding, especially for our younger employees entering the workplace, they have a different expectation for who they follow and what resonates with them from a leadership perspective. And I think that we have reached a tipping point where sort of that pressure from the younger generations has made us all think like, yeah, it's actually better this way. It feels really good to work for a leader who cares about me, who listens to me, who asks my opinion, who engages my voice in the conversation, who cares about my growth and development.
Welcome to Inspired Choice today. I'm your host, Caroline Biesalski, here to bring you authentic stories, surprising lessons, and powerful takeaways to fuel your journey in business and life. In each episode, I'll take you from one inspiring guest to the next, blending their experiences with my expertise to uncover practical strategies you can use right away. Whether you're starting out or stepping up, stay tuned for insights and actionable tips that make a difference. And stick around until the end for a special freebie just for our listeners. Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline and my today's guest is Laura Buckley, and I'm so happy that she said yes to our interview. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today? I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, thank you for saying yes. I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking. I love what I do. I love to inspire people and to talk with inspiring people just like you. So I would love to introduce you, of course, to the audience. And I'm so excited. So you are a leadership consultant, former army officer and registered how do you pronounce this?
Dietitian.
Dietitian, okay, dedicated to creating cultures where people thrive. Combining leadership development, facilitation, and consulting, you empower leaders to support both professional success and personal well-being, focusing on the human experience within organizations. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Laura Buckley. This is you.
Yes, I'm
so
excited.
honored. Thank you so much. And my first question, what key elements do you find essential for building a culture where people can truly thrive?
Yes, such an important question. And I think that the first thing that we all need to think about as leaders, and I'm always inviting leaders to just bring into their awareness, is really looking at the workplace as a human environment. The workplace is, I like to say, a social system, which means the work that we're doing is all with and through other people. Very few of us are doing our work on a day-to-day basis without interacting with other people in some ways, whether it's email, phone calls, face-to-face, collaborative, independent, but connected. We are all working with other people. And so when it comes to creating an environment where people can thrive, we need to create an environment where we can really be human together. And so I love, and I actually was listening to your episode with Andrew recently, and I was just like, yes, like these are the same kinds of things that I think we need to say it louder. We need to say it in different spaces in different ways and hear it from different voices, because the human focus of the workplace is what's going to create cultures where people thrive, where people stay, where people become expert in what they do, where customer satisfaction increases. And so I think that's really the first step, is to invite spaces, make spaces where people can truly be themselves, be their whole self, not the self of 20 years ago where you leave your personal life at the door, or maybe 10 years ago, or probably still happening in a lot of cultures today. But, I remember in my first jobs, it was, you leave your personal life at the door when you walk in. And in order to thrive, we need to be able to be fully ourselves.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Thank you for pointing that out. I totally forgot about that when you said like 10 years ago or 20. I had to remind myself what it was like when I finished college. You call it college or university, and then you have your first job, and then you enter the corporate world. You don't know what to expect, and then you get disappointed sometimes. So I love what you said about creating the space and the environment that reminds me also of nature. Like you need this fertile soil to grow into that personality. I would say, I'm influenced by Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Of course,
Yeah.
we grow into that, and we need the right environment. So I would
Yeah.
like to know, how has your military experience shaped your approach to leadership consulting?
Yeah. So I love being in the military. It was an excellent experience to get leadership development really early on in my career. And I think one thing the Army does so well is it creates the camaraderie. We find ourselves in lots of different environments together, in different training situations, in different areas, and all different kinds of contexts together. And the piece that really becomes so strong and is so important in the culture is how we connect with each other and how we have those opportunities to see each other at our best, to see each other at our worst, to work through the human elements that come up and just continue to build strength and connection in that way. And I think that that's something that, because the military, you do experience higher stress and in such important environments, there's a lot of opportunity to grow connections deeper than we might in a regular corporate or nonprofit setting. One thing I will say that I teach that's quite different from what I experienced in the leadership is that I do teach people to lead from less of a place of command and control and more of a place of personal impact. So not leaning into our rank and our status and our place in the organizational chart to have power and influence, but by creating trust and creating an environment where people feel just like comfortable in your presence. Like what radiates out from you as a leader is what has such a huge influence on how people feel in their environment. So I do think it's really important that we shift a bit from the hierarchy and command and control to more of that owning our personal impact and leaning into that piece of how we show up as leaders. And I think in the military, of course, there's a lot of reasons we need command and control in a lot of environments, but in most work environments, we don't need that. We don't need the just do as I say, move, move, move. It really needs to be more about what we're creating with the culture of our environment.
Wow, I love what you said. So, first of all, you talked about the military, and I think it is also an aspect of surviving, right? You need control and command, otherwise
Right.
there will be dead people. Yeah. This is not funny, of course, and we cannot transfer. We can take the best of it to the work environments, of course. I love what you said about the leadership from, I would say, from within,
Mhm.
like building trust, and not so much about how many degrees someone has, or title. I don't know if you call it title, or what else, like things on the how do you call this? I don't know, the achievements, and then they brag with it, and the other people feel less or inferior,
Yeah.
and those times are over, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think we're really finding, especially for our younger employees entering the workplace, they have a different expectation for who they follow and what resonates with them from a leadership perspective. And I think that we have reached a tipping point where sort of that pressure from the younger generations has made us all think like, yeah, it's actually better this way. It feels really good to work for a leader who cares about me, who listens to me, who asks my opinion, who engages my voice in the conversation, who cares about my growth and development, right? Like that is something that people who are maybe toward the earlier side of their career have really been asking for. And I think created a bit of a it's created a wave in the culture that, yeah, we can't ignore that. We need to really lean in to how we lead from that place.
Yes, and of course, it also depends on on the employees you have or the people that you have to manage, so to say, because maybe they are old school and they are used to the old system with hierarchies as well. So I
Mhm.
remember when I studied leadership or something in my economics studies, then I adapted all those ideas and I thought, oh, I have to be that way. And now it's the complete opposite. It's more working on yourself. You named it. You talked about the, I would say, holistic perspective, or that all facets of a personality are welcomed as
Mhm.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
But you're
Good.
right. And I think,
Mm.
just to your point of saying, I learned about leadership in this one way, and I developed myself as a leader in that way. And now we have some new ways that are emerging. So now I'm learning about that. Like, that is actually the best thing to be doing as a leader, because times do change, expectations change. And the leaders who are willing to say, what's working now? Who's getting the best results in this current today's environment? We can't say, I'm just going to do it this way because this is the way I've always done it. When it comes to leadership and creating cultures where people want to be there, where I say we want to make an irresistible culture with our leadership, because then we naturally attract top talent. We naturally retain our employees. Our employees become our best referral sources to, get new, you know, uh, top talent in the door. So it's just, we've got to learn like what's working now and then adapt.
Oh, I think I understand what you mean, because you talked about irresistible leadership. So who do you attract as the leader? Of course, like attracts like. So you have to be that person and then you attract more of that.
That's right. I mean, create, if you're, and I work with a lot of leaders who are like the leader of the organization. And I do believe that when we're talking about creating cultures where people can thrive, it has to be driven from the highest levels of leadership, from your CEO, from your senior leadership team. The people in those roles are the ones who have the biggest influence on how the culture is shaped. We all have the opportunity to shape culture. I always say you lead from wherever you sit, and the people that you have, interaction with and that you have opportunity to engage with will benefit from your leadership regardless of where you sit in an organization. But if we're talking about an organization-wide culture, it has to come from the top. And then how those individuals lead is what creates that irresistible culture to get in more people who want to be led that way, who want to lead that way, who want to contribute in that kind of culture.
Wow, thank you so much. I understand more about leadership. Now you are the expert, of course. And I have another question. What
Sure.
advice do you have for leaders striving to balance organizational success with employee well-being?
Yeah. The first piece of advice I would offer is to actually ask more questions. So, as leaders, we're often taught to have answers, to know the next step, to be able to provide guidance and advice. But when we think about creating a culture where the organization performs at a high level and individuals get to experience a great sense of well being, a big piece of that is empowering people to do their work in the way that resonates most with them, that feels most aligned with their strengths and their preferences and their personality. As leaders, we don't need to tell people exactly how to do their jobs. We don't need to answer all of the questions. We need to coach people to be able to bring their highest capacity to their role and to feel really strong about how they're performing in their role. Because a lot of our well being is based on doing work that feels aligned with our purpose, that feels aligned with our strengths. And so having the autonomy to do our role, but also feeling highly supported with resources and support with our leadership, it benefits both the organization and the individual. The other thing that I think is really important is to really honor people's capacity. I think as leaders, it's really easy to get excited about new ideas and get excited about new projects and to want to say yes to all of the things. But the truth is, like, what we say yes to rarely falls on our plate as a task or a to do. And so it's important to understand the capacity of our staff so that we're not saying yes to things that are going to end up overwhelming their plate. Because if we don't have capacity to take a break, to move our bodies, to go outside, we can't have that high level of thriving. There are some basic needs that if our workday is so full that we're glued to our desk from the time we sit down to probably 2 hours past when we were meant to leave, it's really hard to have that space to thrive. So I would say those are the first two things that I think of when it comes to how we can create that organizational success as well as allowing people to thrive personally.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing. And what I took away from what you were saying is the aspect of coaching as well. So you are a coach, and it is important for leaders to ask for help and for support and to
Mhm.
allow or I love the term to delegate authority as well. So what would you say? Do you have coaches and mentors for yourself? And how and who was the best coach you ever had?
Oh, yes. I have coaches. I turn to different people depending on what I need support with, but I'm very fortunate to have trusted people that I can turn to when I need support. Um, Gosh, the best coach I ever had was somebody who was also one of my leaders. And so I think it's important to understand as leaders, yes, you can have an executive coach, you can have a certified coach, you can have somebody who is officially in a coaching role for you, but also just bringing coaching skills into how we do our work, right? By asking questions, by helping people solve their own problems instead of trying to solve them for them. Because one of the people who I felt I was coached strongest by wasn't a certified coach, she wasn't trained as a coach. She just used coaching skills in her leadership to really push me to say, Laura, you know how to do this? What would you say? What would you say if someone was asking you that same question? Or what kind of support do you need here? Or, just those simple questions can really support someone's own, like, oh, yeah, I actually do know how to do this. I can figure this out. I want to figure this out. And it's safe to try and make mistakes and come back and get more support and try again. And to the point of coaching, I what I see with the leaders that I work with, and my coaching is definitely sort of a combination of coaching and consulting, but is that the CEOs who lean into being coached are the ones who have the greatest skill set to then bring coaching themselves to their senior leaders, to be able to take a coaching approach to their leadership because they value coaching, they're experiencing coaching, so they directly feel the impact of it. They know what it looks and sounds like, so they can support their own senior leaders through coaching skills.
Wow, I love that answer. Thank you so much. And it's so simple. When you appreciate coaching or you are open to it, then you are a good coach for other people as well because you know how it works, right?
That's right. It's funny. I coach a CEO of a nonprofit, and I've been coaching him for quite a long time. And I was teaching coaching skills to one of his leadership teams because I truly believe that the coaching approach to leadership is the most powerful way to help your team grow. And so he came and he sat in on this training, and the whole time he was like, "Oh, that's what you're doing to me. That's what happened in our calls." And it was funny because it's just the more he experiences it and then hears what it is, then the more empowered he is to go use that with his team. So, I just think no matter where we are in organizations or in our careers, we have room to grow. It's normal to need and want support. We should need and want support, right? In order to continue to grow and be our best selves.
Wow. So there's always something to learn. I love.
Always something to learn.
Yes. So my last question is about. No, I have to laugh because I have two last questions. But my first last question is about your goals and intentions. Do you set goals for yourself, and what is one of your next projects?
Ooh, that's a great question. I do set goals for myself. I see goals as an opportunity to decide what actions I want to take. So for me right now, one of the goals I'm working on is, well, one of my goals, this is a great example, is just making new marketing. I'm doing a new website, creating, like really leaning into marketing. And when I think about that, I think about this goal of having marketing that supports me, that feels like me, that feels aligned with my energy and my personality. That's the goal. But the point of the goal is actually to help me identify the action items I want to play with in an effort to achieve my goal, knowing that I will learn from every single one of those action items along the way. So I actually look at goal setting as a learning process. The goal helps us decide what we're going to do, and what we're going to do then creates those opportunities to learn about ourselves, our skills, our likes, what works, what doesn't. Sometimes the actions change, sometimes the goals change. But either way, it sets us up to move forward.
I understand. It sounds like reverse engineering a little bit from
A little
the
bit.
goal to today. Yes. Yeah, a little bit. And I love that you mentioned your website or your new website, because this is my last question about how can people find you when they want to reach out to you, and do you have special offers and services?
Oh, yeah. So my website is laurabuckleycoaching.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn and send me a note there. I would love to hear from you. I do custom offers. So all of my work with leaders is based on a conversation around what they're hoping to achieve in their organization and what's going to be the best path to get them there. I believe every leader and every team has a unique situation. So I'm always very excited to learn what's going on. And then I usually start with some type of team facilitation to get to know the team and to identify what their goals and path forward will look like. And then a little bit of consulting and leadership development support to help them get there.
Wow, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. I'll check out your website, of course, and I think we are already connected, but we are connected. And now, and thank you for this interview. And now it's time for your final thoughts to the audience, please.
Yes. My final thoughts are that you are a powerful leader. And the more you lean in to shaping your leadership into what feels aligned and authentic for you, the more you create that opportunity for the people around you. And know that it's okay if it feels hard, and it's going to feel hard. It's going to feel a little sticky, but it's worth doing the work and continuing to grow and develop as leaders.
Wow, it's worth it because you are worth it as a leader. Thank you so much. This is the best message.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's apply it, what we learned in this episode, and see you in the next one. Thank you for listening to Inspired Choice today. I'm thrilled to have you on this journey of growth and transformation. Don't forget to hit follow or subscribe to stay connected and never miss an episode. And here's something special. Grab your free 20-minute breakthrough session with me. It's designed to help you kickstart or level up your business. Just check out the show notes for more. Until next time, keep making those inspired choices, and see you in the next episode.